So as we start the hexagonal prism, I have to give a couple of shout outs. One to Ashley, because we did a little demo that she watched and then she helped me help some other kids. So thank you, Ashley, for helping with the hexagonal prism. I have to also give a quick shout out to Aurelia, Marcus, Lucas, and Yohiro, because this is the paper that I started doing, you know, when we were doing the little demo with just us at the table and we didn't get to finish. So I'm gonna use the paper that I was using with you guys. I wanted to show you this one and how it does fold up and it works. People tend to think about this one first or the other one that I'm gonna show you, which I personally think is easier. What's true about both of these, this one and the one that I've started here, there are going to be the same number of shapes down for our net as there are spaces or surfaces on our geometric form. And they're going to be the same kind of shapes that we see here that we're making on here. And that may seem obvious, but for some students, I know once you really think about that, it kind of makes this all come together. There's two hexagons, two flat hexagon faces, and then there are 6 rectangular surfaces or faces. This one's complete already. We've got our 2 hexagons and then our 6 rectangles, or rectangles, most people would say. There are going to be a total of 8 shapes that we need to have. Grid paper lends very nicely to making squares and rectangles because everything is parallel and perpendicular. Oh, that's my phone. My phone's not often in my locker. I'm gonna turn it off. The edges of the hexagon are gonna be our smallest edge because I'm gonna make the rectangles a little bit longer. When this folds up, the rectangle edge that's short needs to meet up perfectly with the hexagon edge. So the shortest edge of the form is one of the edges of the hexagon, the flat shape, and one of the edges of the rectangle, the flat shape. So I need to make that 1 inch. I need my 6 rectangles. I'm gonna measure the side, and here's 1 inch. Okay, so each of these boxes is a 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna put in my little kind of dots that I like to use. And so here's 1 inch, and there's another, and another inch, and another inch, and another inch, and another inch. Here's 1 rectangle, 2 rectangles, 3 rectangles, 4 rectangles, 5 rectangles, and 6 rectangles. If we have this as 1 inch, this line here that makes up our regular hexagon, each one of these edges needs to be 1 inch. And if I were to do the line just from here to here, or here to here, that's 1 inch. But just by tilting this at just a little bit of an angle, if it goes all the way to the corner, the line is going to be too long. It's going to be longer than 1 inch. So if you see, I put the 1 inch mark on the dot, and then see how the little crisscross is way the heck over here, which when you're dealing with the precision of geometry and geometric forms, that little tiny bit makes a big difference. We're gonna need to be using lines of symmetry. I am going to use this line, the blue line, as where my dot needs to fall, my corner, my vertex. I don't necessarily know where it needs to fall, but it needs to be somewhere on there. And the way that I do this, remember I said if I go from here to here, it's 1 inch. If I start to tilt this, I'm trying to keep the dot on the 1 inch mark here. Keep the dot on the 1 inch mark. That's where on this blue line, I have 1 inch. So I'm gonna mark this little spot on the blue line. I'm going to draw in my 1 inch. Okay, now I need this, it's precise. I need my next little vertex to be on this line so it's even with this. I already did this with pencil, but I'm gonna do this again. If I were to do my line straight from here that I just drew over to here, you know, an inch is going to be shy of the edge of the line there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, if I just did the inch from one point to another little crisscross perpendicular, it's going to be 1 inch, but I'm going to shift this. It's at the 1 inch mark on the blue line right there, a little bit shy of this line. Here is a line of symmetry that is going to help us. You'll notice that when I connect these 2 points, they're not on the blue line, but they're pretty much parallel to the blue line. That's going to be my line of symmetry, where when I fold this part of the trapezoid and this part of the trapezoid to make the hexagonal prism, they're equal on both sides. My next point is going to be on this same line, so they're nice and even, and I want it to be 1 inch long. So if I set this up from the point and on the line, it's going to be just shy, just like this is just shy of the line, a little bit over. It would be over here, but I'm going to tilt this. I need it to be on this line, so I'm going to tilt when my 1 inch is on that blue line. Right, now I'm just going to put the dot in first because I want to actually remeasure before I put all my lines in. I need my dot to be somewhere on this line because it needs to be even with this, and it needs to be 1 inch long. So I'm going to tilt, I'm getting close to the blue line. There we have 1 inch right there. If I did this correctly, this should also be 1 inch, and it is. I'm going to connect this. I'm going to connect this. And this should also be parallel to the blue line. And I'm going to do this on the other side. So there you have it. There is your net for your hexagonal prism. Thanks for watching.